Welcome to the post-fight Clink. I am your host, Big Bang Mike, and we're here for the first time, just kidding, for the third time, but also for the first time because you're being introduced as the Ragin' Pagan. We have Mike Allen in the house tonight. Reminder, the post-fight Clink is a show where we share a drink, probably for the first time. Not necessarily for the first time, but probably for the first time after a fight. Mike, how are you doing today?
Good.
It's a pleasure to have you in-house. Thank you for joining me. So we're going to be talking a little bit about your fight after your kind of like a post-fight interview when it comes to the travels and the camp and everything encompassing thereof after the fight. Now, what were you surprised about when it came to your first fight? Was there anything that surprised you? Oh, by the way, let's go ahead and clink real quick. It's kind of the point of the show. There you are. So once again, to reiterate that question, what were you surprised about when it came to your first fight?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the oldest person there. Let me rephrase that. Not the oldest person, but I'm pretty sure I was the oldest fighter there.
You were the oldest fighter. So, if you didn't see the scrap down or the fight, Cherry, the Pagan is 38 years old.
Almost.
Almost. He's
I got a few months still.
He's bridging 38.
Yeah.
And his opponent was 23 years old. So, you know, I mean, when Mike was allowed to smoke cigarettes, his opponent was in diapers probably still.
Yeah, more than likely. There's about 14, 15-year difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it? Was that a like a psychological thing for you at all, or?
So, I mean, kind of. Like, not necessarily adverse, because I remember what I was like, vaguely. I remember what I was like when I was 24. And I had a lot of boundless energy at 24. And so I kind of figured that is what I was going to be on the receiving end of when it came to this fight. And I think I was right.
Just somebody who was a little bit more athletic or youthfully athletic, I should say.
Yeah. Like he started off, hard and fast. Looking to just cause as much damage as quickly as possible, or at least that's what it felt like. And honestly, I wasn't really having it because going into the fight, I knew I wanted to take it to at least the second round because there was a lot of people coming to watch, and then I found out that there was almost as many people watching on that pay-per-view service.
A little bit of a pressure to perform is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I wanted to, at least get it to the second round, not necessarily end it in the first round or have it end in the first round. So I did pretty much what I could to try and control the tempo. Mm-hmm. And I ate a lot of crap from him in doing so.
You did hit a lot of 1-2s. If somebody watched the scrap down, there were a few 1-2s that were taken, but that was kind of the plan going in, wasn't it? Like we weren't necessarily looking to go in there and try to match energy in round one. Our goal was to kind of was to play a reserved game anyways. Like we were playing an old man's fight either way.
Yeah. I mean, given the rules and the setting and things like that, it's different than in a self-defense aspect where, if it was in self-defense or something like that, then like as much damage as possible as fast as I can get it done. Mm-hmm. But this, like, I wanted to play the game for about as long as I could play the game, and
well, there's a common adage when it comes to MMA. It's like MMA is a sport now, right? So like there is strategy, there is ways to make things last longer. In a self-defense situation, obviously you want to get things done as quickly as possible, but in an MMA fight, it's a game, right? So like we have strategy going in, and we have an attitude of trying to be as as like competent as possible when it comes to like the rule set of the game itself. So I think that it was I think that was a good showing. I think that you did a good job. Was there anything that turned out not to be as like big of a deal as you thought? Like, was there something that you were worried about that that was like, oh, actually that was probably the easiest thing out of anything?
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah, so you were worried about everything pretty equally, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. I think so. The TKO was highly unexpected. When I hit him with that knee, I was actually getting ready to gear up to follow it up with another knee because I had that clinch on him. Had him, pretty exposed and up against the cage so he could stop running from me. And I tried to push his spine out of his back through the front, and the beautiful wet meat slap. Oh, man. And I was getting ready to do it again, and as he was dropping, I was like, oh, maybe he's going for a single leg or something. Like maybe, he's trying for a takedown. It was the very first thought. And then I could feel that he was limp. And remember, in the pre-fight meeting, the rules meeting, they said, if you feel your opponent go limp, do not drop them, specifically referring to the guillotine, because adverse prognosis ended up happening to a lot of fighters in the past. And so then my brain went to that. And then so by the time his butt cheeks hit the mat, like I kind of realized that, all right, well, he's just sitting down, and I was getting ready to try to feed him his teeth again, and that's when the ref came in and stopped it, and I was just like, wait, I'm not done. Like, we're done? I'm not done. Like,
good job
right.
Good job, by the way, taking yourself out of that kind of fight scenario and going back into like just a human scenario, right? Because we all have different mindsets that we kind of click into when it comes to stuff. And I think the big problem with a lot of people is like they can't shift between the two, and it seems that you navigate it pretty well. The fact that, you recognize that somebody was hurt, and you as a sportsman, you didn't just like let them collapse, right? We're not here to put people in wheelchairs, only when we're in that mindset. But when something actually happens itself, you had the mindset and the wherewithal to actually be like, hey, there's no reason for this guy to have lasting damage. So
right.
Awesome. But I didn't even see that knee, by the way, when I was looking down at the time, and I heard that snap, and I was like, what just happened? And Nicole sitting next to me was like, Mike just won the fight. And I was like, I missed it. So we ran in. It was only through like the replays and the videos. I was like, oh, that's a good knee. That's what we were looking for. So tell me, I want to know more, sort of like more personal, intimate stuff about you, if you don't mind. And obviously refill your drink should you need to. But tell me what your walkout song was and why you chose it. Because I remember you originally telling me what that song was, and I was like, make sure that you text that to me because I will not remember it. And when I heard it, I did some research on it afterwards, so I kind of have a little bit of a knowledge about it, but I feel like some of the viewers might be interested in the story because especially first-time fighters, when they pick their song, it usually means something to them. So
I chose Hakkerskalder.
Say it again.
Hakkerskalder, and I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly anyways.
I mean, it's not a real word. I'm just kidding. Sorry,
actually,
Danish
it
people.
is. It's a compound word.
Oh, okay.
So you're correct. In the modern translation, it's shell breaker. But in the like Proto-Norse, that's what makes it a compound word. So Skalder is derivative of shield, and Hakker is like hack.
Okay.
So, and There's 1.5 million people on the internet that'll tell you the direct translation is this. It doesn't mean what you think it means and things like that. Nobody really knows what it is actually 100% supposed to mean until Heilung, the band that made the song, comes out and says, hey, this is what we mean to it. Yeah. But what they did was they took a lot of the lyrics from the Eggy Stone, which was discovered in 1917, but dates all the way back to like Proto-Norse times, and it's got 20 different runes on it and things like that, and it's organized in a poem. But anyways, so that's kind of where it came from. Now their intent. So we know that the ancient Norse would often do war chants. However, ancient Norse is a dead language. It's not spoken common anymore, much like Latin is, but it still, has resurfacing and things like that through scholars and pop culture. Sorry, my ear itches. And so if you look at how they've kind of translated it, that's literally what it is. It is a war chant. I don't have the native language committed to memory, nor do I have the English translation committed to memory. But that's essentially why, like, it fits with the Raging Pagan. Even if my fight nickname wasn't the Raging Pagan, if it was whatever else, I still want to prepare myself in the same fashion with that song. And honestly, I had the best walkout song of the whole night.
I agree. To be honest, like you when you're backstage, you hear a lot of this stuff, and I did not. Maybe you sold the most tickets for all I know. Maybe that's the why. But like that chant got people hyped. Like you can't hear it on the scrap down because we cut out the sound. But when that sound was going on, like people were just like losing their minds. And you're a first time fighter; they don't even know what you look like. You know what I mean? And they got it hyped. One of the things I love about martial arts, and if you watch this podcast more, you're going to hear me nerd out more and more about how martial arts relates to culture. But every single culture has something like that. Like we're talking about the Norse culture right now. You're a raging pagan, as you said in the fight chair. You practice Norse heathenry. So like that's important, special to you. But the Japanese have it, right? The Maori have it. Like it reminded me of the haka that they do from the Maori. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
When I heard it, I was like, is this a Maori haka? And then like I heard the distinct like Danish language, and I was like, oh no, this isn't that. So
I do have something to add to that, just to amplify. So the reason why there is parallels between the haka and hakaskalder is because like it's literally just ancient war chants, and from both very primitive ancient cultures. However, the haka has survived, whereas the Norse and the Proto-Norse chants have not survived. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about Heilung, is that they are trying to bring back the culture that was lost and destroyed essentially
through colonialism and Catholicism and
yes.
transferring,
yes,
and convincing a lot of the Norse Vikings that they're Catholic now is basically what you're saying, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I agree with it too. I mean, you're pagan, I'm an atheist. We're not that different. We're just one step removed, I think. So I completely get where you're going for. Can I ask, what was, go ahead and open that up and take a little bit more for yourself. Can I ask, what was your favorite part of the fight?
The fight itself, my favorite part would be literally fighting. Like that's all there is to it. Like the moment honestly, the moment that I walked out of those curtains, it It was 100% game on. I had a mission, and my mission was to destroy my enemy. Now, Mr. Frady, you are not my enemy. But for those 3 rounds, you were effectively my enemy. I actually really liked the kid.
He was cool, yeah. He was
Yeah.
definitely good, and he had a lot of heart. And there's not a lot of people who would take any fight on a 2-week notice, and the present company included. By the way, if somebody told me that like you have to fight this dude in 2 weeks, I would be like, nah, that's not how I roll. So complete ups to Justin Frady. When we talk about winning this fight, we're definitely not trying to downplay another competitor by any means. We're just trying to explain what our mindset is when we went on with it.
So I don't know if I told you this. I know you're trying to move on to the next point, but
Nope, not at all.
I do want to say, the very next day, as I was going to the bathroom, actually, I pulled him up on Instagram. I added him as a friend, and I sent him a message, just asking how he was doing. First of all, thanking him for fighting me, because
he did save that entire night for us.
Yeah. I would have been so pissed if I didn't get to fight. And that's a lot of tickets to have to return money on.
Yes.
But anyways, first of all, I thanked him, and I told him, dude's got balls of steel for taking a fight, a week and a half out. Yeah. And I also asked how he was doing, because I didn't know what had happened, because I was still trying to transition from attempting to feed another human their teeth back to me. And so I didn't know if I legitimately broke something, because that's something that I didn't want to do, because it's amateur.
Right.
And Justin is 23 years old. He could stand to have a very long career out of this. I'm effectively middle-aged. I do this for fun.
Right.
I'm not going to try to make a career out of this. So, I didn't want to, break him, legitimately break something in him. And so I asked how he was doing, and all that stuff. And, he responded. He said his leg was pretty sore because I ate that front leg. Could have done a better job at it. But anyways, I kicked the crap out of that front leg as hard as I could. But, so, I hope he fights again. And when he does fight again, I'm going to go watch him fight, because I want to continue to watch him progress through his fight career.
Yeah, he's super good, and he has a lot of time to get better, right?
Yeah.
Unlike you and me.
No,
yeah, it's a lot of time to get better.
Be wary of the old man that is still in a profession where young men die.
Right. Well, you're old for a reason. It's because you didn't die. So that makes sense. Mike, what do you think that you can do better next time you fight? Let's just assume you're going to fight next time. What do you think that you can do better?
So the next time I fight, I need to incorporate more wrestling. I definitely need to incorporate some more submissions, because when I was on top of him in the second round, the first round not so much, but in the second round, when I was in the mount and I was just beating on him, by the time my brain recognized the opening for a submission, he moved ever so slightly. So I had to reset back to square one, try to find an opening. So 1, creating the opening, 2, recognizing it faster, and 3, trying to capitalize on it. Because if you remember from the last podcast that you had me here, I didn't care how I won. I just wanted it to be on my terms, So, I didn't want it to go to judge's decision. I just wanted it to end on my terms, whether it was submission or knockout or TKO. So, but I'm a shit jiu-jitsu practitioner. I am so bad at it.
From a spectator's position, it didn't look like you were you didn't know what you were doing at the time, and I know that you don't not know, but it looked as though that you preferred to be like a brawler and brawl it out. From a coach's perspective, I did see you looping a few arms. I did see you going for things. You recognized positions. You were kind of recognizing positions probably about 2 to 3 seconds too late. And in a situation, as you were describing that dynamic, even 2 seconds too late it might as well be a half hour too late.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that I agree with you. I think that like a lot of that, I love that grappling stuff is just time on the mat. So we need to spend just much more time in being in those situations, being familiar with those situations, so that you don't have to kind of go into your mind palace and catalog through your brain as to what you're supposed to do, but your body kind of just does it itself. I think that from a coach perspective versus a fighter perspective, I think you and I are on the same page. I was surprised, by the way, that I didn't see as much wrestling out of you for how much you actually enjoy wrestling.
It's hard to get your hands on somebody when they keep running from you.
He was taking running classes instead of MMA classes for a while there.
If you would allow me to pontificate on that a little
So
bit.
go for it.
So at no point in the fight did I get mad until round 3, when he blatantly ran from me.
Yeah.
And then, so that butt kick that everybody saw, that everybody just laughed at, that was bad targeting on my part. What I was attempting to do was kick his hamstring as hard as possible to get that leg to cramp so he would just stop running and stop moving. Because, as you saw, I was pretty tired, but not as tired.
Yeah.
And so, but bad targeting, it went high, kicked him in his butt. Everybody got a great laugh out of it.
Yeah, I think that everybody put a little bit more of like a personal interpretation on that than it actually was. I think that you were definitely trying to kick him, but everybody just kind of, I don't know if it was a look on your face or everybody just like...
Yeah, you could see I was pretty damn mad at that point.
Frustrated.
I wanted to do the Nate Diaz and be like, right here, right here. And, you know, like I said, I was pretty damn tired at that point.
Well, and you know, like even though that was like kind of like a frustrating situation, we also have to remember that that's the position that we purposefully put him in, right? Like the goal was for him to get super tired so that we can kind of put our own game plan in place. So it's like we can't be mad because we did that to him on purpose, but at the same time, you're like, get back here so I can do my cool shit. Now that you've done this, Mike, what advice would you give to a first-time fighter? Like, let's say we have a student right now who is about to get his black belt, hopefully in the next 6 months to a year. His name's Cohen Rasmussen, and he says that he wants, when he turns 18, to do an MMA or a kickboxing fight. If you had to give Cohen, whom you've trained with, you've helped test before, if you were to give him some advice for his first fight, what would that advice be?
So, I mean, first of all, Cohen is like super talented.
Cohen,
like he can, all the technical aspects, like he has solid. He has, you know, the fancy, flashy stuff that. We know I don't do fancy and flashy very well. I'm very simple, brutal, and raw. But like that kid will make a great show when he does fight. For Cohen specifically, wrestling and submission wrestling. Like take that, and it doesn't have to be fancy wrestling, but to take just the simple things and capitalize on it and make it excessively violent so that when he does hit these takedowns and he does hit these submissions, when they present themselves, it's fast, it's violent, and it's raw. Because, like, in my line of work, we have a phrase, speed, surprise, and violence of action. And those three things, if you can perfect and capitalize on those three things, you stand a very good chance of winning the fight, regardless as to what the fight is. And cardio, lots and lots and lots of cardio, because that's just going to help you. Because, I mean, by the end of round 1, I was pretty tired, and I didn't even do a whole lot of work, you know. However, my cardio was still pretty good.
Well, that's what a lot of people don't understand. I think we touched upon it a little bit in your Fight Cherry podcast interview, but a lot of the time it's about having the cardio capacity to execute your game plan. not even about what your game plan is. Cohen's got a mom who's like a CrossFit athlete, so he's got a good. It's just Cohen specifically, but he's got a good head on his shoulders when it comes to that. But everybody doesn't understand how tiring this is. The fact that I even have a wife right now is because of like basically my third fight. And I was like, I was way more tired than I needed to be. And then I called this cute girl up and we got to talking, and she was my cardio coach. She's still my cardio coach, right? It's the classes help you learn the tools, but it's your cardio that helps you execute those tools. So one thing about fight camp that most people don't know is that a lot of fight camp is just a lot of exercising, isn't it?
Yeah. And honestly, it was a blast. I mean, I don't like doing kettlebell swings when I've got the MMA 4-ounce gloves on because I can't hold shit.
Right.
You know,
kind of the point though.
But it's just like
can't hold shit when you're trying to get submissions.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not how it goes.
Yeah, you use meat hooks, not these
Right.
tiny little digits. You know, so for anybody that is wanting to take a first time fight, like seriously, across the board, chances are you're probably strong enough. So what you ought to do is drop one weight class for real, regardless as to how tall you are, how big you are, how much muscle you have. Probably should drop a weight class, at least. I don't like cutting per se, but you're already an adult, so your body's done growing. Cut the weight class. The name of the game is to be as heavy, big, as dense as possible according to the rules. And seriously, cardio. Lots and lots of cardio. Do the road work, do the sprints, like just cardio your freaking brains out so that you can withstand it.
Speaking of road work, like without giving away trade secrets, what was a week in camp like for you? Can you sort of list out some of the stuff for the viewers?
So, 3 days a week, I was running between 3 and 5 miles in the mornings because you're not going to see me do very much cardio in the afternoon, evenings because I don't believe in it. I'm a stubborn ass that way. You're also not going to see me lift in the mornings because I'm a stubborn ass that way. But anyway, so yeah, between 3 and 5 miles, I was lazy and did it on the treadmill, even though I believe that running outside is better. But being lazy, I could track my miles easier on the treadmill.
Makes sense.
And Goku from Dragon Ball Super was legitimately helping me get through those miles. The
TV helps with those long miles for sure.
Yeah. I loved Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. Dragon Ball Super, GT, all that nerdy anime shit. But I mean, like, so that, and then I'd come here and get beat on for a couple hours 3 times a week and, do the exercises that you have me do. And like, it was honestly a freaking blast. Like I had so much fun in fight camp.
It's a fun thing. It's a selfish thing, but it's a fun thing, right? Like it is all about you. And that's like what I do actually like about martial arts, that it's very self-pointed. In general, like you train amongst a team, but you're mainly training for yourself, and you definitely have to kind of condition your family a little bit to make sure that this is what's going to be happening for like the next 6 weeks itself.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, they were champs. The wife and kids. My wife, God, she helped me so much with the meal prep and stuff like that. Because, like, as you know, there's just days where like I don't want to do a damn thing right now.
Yeah,
I just want to sit on the couch.
Takes a village. It really does.
Yeah. So I mean, like I had super awesome support system. With my family and with you and my training partners. Just very fortunate to have everybody helping me through this. And with Andrew, like honestly, man, if it wasn't for Andrew, with the Built for Life, look him up. It works.
Yeah.
I lost 30 pounds to fight.
30 pounds in like what, 9 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like was it 9
honestly,
weeks? Or are we being generous with that?
no, it was like
About
9
9
weeks. Yeah. So, I mean, like, dude, seriously, like he was a freaking godsend.
Yeah.
Cause the only way I knew how to cut weight previous to that was the old school wrestling way of like, hey, don't eat.
Yeah, just
you
don't
know?
eat.
Just don't eat, you know. Make sure that you're drinking some water, exercise your brains out. Like, I hated that when I was wrestling in high school. And like, he's just like, oh yeah, man. So you're at about, 2,500 calories a day. We're going to take you to like, 1,800, see how you do. And like, that was still great,
Yeah. Well, having a community is the reason why people don't do things independently, right? Like if you have a community, you have a network of resources, and we worked with Andrew, but Andrew wasn't free. You did pay extra
Right.
to Andrew, right? But with that being said, just having that resource of knowing that somebody that I trust, that you can make happen. But you also had resources here, like we were joking about Cohen getting his black belt and stuff. But Cohen came in and did expert holds for you.
Oh, yeah.
During fight camp,
Yeah.
right? And another student here, Damon, who might be looking to fight in the future. He came in and stayed over and helped with your fight camps, and he gave you rounds, and
Oh, yeah.
he gave you his body, his blood, and his soreness for different stuff. And that's the kind of the beauty of doing this within a community of people who are interested in this thing. So I would recommend that everybody out there who's thinking about doing this find a community like that, right? Like, obviously, I recommend my community. This is a business. But definitely find a community of people who do that, because it's easier when we all do things together. It's just kind of the human way. Mike, what would you do different if you fought again?
I want to be better at the more technical aspects of fighting, because like as you know, because you've known me for years, like my natural default is I am a brawler. I stand for everything that is ugly and brutal about fighting. I don't do flashy. I don't do complex. And like, we have 17 minutes of footage that say Mike doesn't do that shit,
Mike walks into the fire for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a hard time opening my mouth all of the way to eat without pain. And that's because I honestly fought like an idiot. I was a little bit slow. I didn't, do a lot of great footwork or head movement. I was kind of like locked in on a singular purpose. So, yeah, next time I want to, be a little bit fancier.
A little bit fancier.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a show. I feel like this is the most fun part of the fight for me. When I got to watch it happen, and then I like seeing it on the footage in the scrap down when I was editing it. What was going through your head when he lost his mouth guard and you told him to put it back in there? Like, can you just talk me through that?
Yeah. So I will give you like 100% play by play. All right. So he was working that guillotine, and actually, like, he got close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I could
Did you hear
feel
me
it.
say jump his feet? Or did you just do that on your own? It's okay. You don't
No,
have
I
to-
didn't. I didn't hear you very well.
Fair enough.
But I wish I did. But I didn't, because all the blood was just kind of being
You
stopped.
did it anyways. It doesn't matter.
As you've known through the years, like, unfortunately, I'm an intuitive fighter. A lot of it is intuition, and it's because, one, I'm half idiot, and two, I just need more time. But anyway, so I did a bad roll, and he caught me in that standing guillotine, and he was trying with all of his might, and I could feel it, He was doing really good. And then he put his body weight, which ended up kind of being a reprieve. I slipped my arm over and started pushing it into his neck so I could pull my head out. Now, I literally just muscled out of it. And when I did muscle out of it, like my head just kind of like popped clean out. I think he was pretty tired after that. Had expended a lot of energy because it was halfway through round 2.
Yeah.
So I took the dominant position, which that's honestly the best thing that I did the whole night was just maintaining.
It was pretty clean.
The dominant positions and maintaining control of the ring. Like honestly, like if it would have went down to points, I'm pretty sure I would have won off of judge's decision based on those things. But we know I didn't want to do it that way.
Yeah. That's not the raging pagan way.
Yeah. So anyways, I climbed over the top of him, and I still had my forearm there. And when I did, his mouthpiece come out, and it came on the mat. And me not understanding, like, all of the rules, I saw that happen. I pointed at it, and I got the ref's attention. I said, "Hey, ref," and was pointing at it because I was pretty damn tired. I couldn't fucking talk worth a shit. And sorry, that's probably too much cussing.
No, you're good. We're far enough in.
And the ref said, "Keep going." And I was like, "What?" And this is like a 3-second exchange.
Right.
In the moment, like it felt like a half an hour. Which by to the way to all of you viewers that haven't been in these situation scenarios, that's a very common thing where 1 second feels like 10 minutes. That is 100% a common thing. So if you ever experience it, like you're not weird, you're not any of that stuff. Like I've experienced this since I was like 19 years old. Anyways, so back to where I was. Got the ref's attention. He said, "Keep going," and then he said, "You can let him put it in if you want to." So I was like, "All right, put your mouthpiece back in." Now, everybody in the audience thought that I was just talking shit to him. No, like I am not a shit talker. That's just not the way that I am. So I looked at Justin and I'm like, "Hey man, put it back in." And he looked at me kind of confused, and time was ticking. I was like, "All right, I'm catching my breath." He's catching his breath. And so he put it in, covered his face back up, and you can see there's like a 1/10 of a second. But in that 1/10 of a second, I made sure that it was seated, and then I hit him with the hardest right hand that I could muster in that moment because it was game on at that point. It's like when you're playing out in the street and you're like, "Car!"
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Game on.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I did that is because, like, this is amateur.
Right.
You know, like, there's no sense in biting your freaking tongue off or breaking your fucking teeth, you know, because, like, this is amateur.
Yeah. We all got to go to work on Monday.
I didn't go to work on Monday. I went back to work on Tuesday.
Well, fair enough. You know what I mean? And for those who are who might not know or might not be accustomed, every state has a different sort of rule set on when it comes to mouth guards itself. But in Utah, you should have a mouth guard in, and we make sure that you have a mouth guard in. But it's your job as an athlete to keep that mouth guard in. So Mike was under no obligation to have stopped and say, "Hey, put in your mouth guard," but he did anyways, right? If you spit out your mouth guard, you're gonna fight without a mouth guard for the rest of the round, at least as I understand the rules in Utah. So the fact that even Mike was like, "Hey, just put this back in," was a very good show of sportsmanlike attitude, becoming of him that I didn't think he actually had in him. I felt like you're the type of person who would have just like, I'm gonna drill it. No, there's nothing wrong with that though.
I didn't have any malice against him. You know,
you can be a good person, Mike. That's okay.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, I do have a little bit of honor.
Yeah, there you go. Right, Mike. Be honest. what did I not do a good job in preparing you for this fight? Like, what can I do better? We shit talked to you a little bit. You know, I don't think we shit talked to your opponent per se, but shit talked me for a second. Like, what did I mess up on?
So I don't think that you messed up on anything, and I'm not being nice. Like, you've known me long enough. So for those of you that know, I'm gonna tell you the truth, no matter how hard the feelings might be. But no, as far as like a first time fight goes, first time coach goes,
Yeah,
like,
first time coach.
honestly, I don't think you did or didn't do, you know, anything. Like, it was great. We probably could have done just a little bit more wrestling.
Probably more wrestling. I agree with that.
But like outside of that one thing, like, no, like, so my favorite day of fight camp was when you and I did rounds and you took yourself, like, you honed in on your acting skills. It was beautiful. Like, I knew what you were doing, and you know the exact day that I'm talking about.
I knew.
Like, as soon as like we got through halfway over the first round, I was like, this guy. So, for those of you that don't know, which you all should know, Big Bang Michael Lasky is pro fighter. Five-time champ?
Yeah, five-time MMA champ.
Five-time MMA champ, you know? And so, like, really great fighter. Has tons of freaking fights. And, but anyways, also a very good actor, because he's like, yeah, so we're going to do rounds. I'm going to do my best to, you know, give you the experience of what you would get from an amateur. And this is when I still had my original opponent. And, like, it was great, because I was like, oh, man, I feel fucking good. Like, I'm not gassed. I'm like, I know Mike's not gassed. Like, I know he's playing, but the way that, you know, you were fighting in the rounds was indicative of, you know, what I was most likely to see coming from an 0-0-0 first-time fighter.
Right.
That was much closer to my age.
Yeah, we did it. We did a little bit of an acting session when we were halfway through your fight camp, where, like, I literally played somebody who had never fought before, based on my experience, and that's funny that's something that you kind of keyed in on. I forgot about it until you literally just mentioned it right now.
Because we've sparred before, and, like, I've even though, you know, you do the proper percentage when we spar, you're still, like, sparring as a pro, and I'm just, like, getting my ass handed to me. I'm like, Jesus, you still let me work things.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're not letting me win. So, like, I was like, yeah.
There's the competitive. There's still, like, even though you're a teacher, there's a competitive side that comes out.
100%. 100%.
But that in that session, we were very much like, I was like, this is what I think. This is what I think first time fighters fight like, and this is what we fought like.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm glad to see a session like that. Actually, like, you feel that it helped you, because sometimes when you do something like that, you feel like, oh, this is more like wax on, wax off movie style Mr. Miyagi shit, right? But it's fun to see that something like that actually did help you. It was a good application to it. What was the first thing you did after your fight? Like, what was your craving? What did you need to get done after that fight?
So after we went and changed, or I went and changed, and, you know, you cut my wraps off and everything, and I came out from there. Wanted to find my wife, find my kids, and then say hi to everybody that was down at the table spot. And I really wanted that Jameson and that Budweiser. Unfortunately, the venue did not have Budweiser, but that's okay, because I tell you what, that
Complex? Was it Complex?
No, we were at the Union Event Center.
Union Event Center. Get Budweiser. Wasn't Budweiser sponsoring it? Like, it was on all the stuff.
Yes,
and the venue
Budweiser
didn't even hold
sponsored it. And my wife got one of those necklace keychain things that said Bud Light.
It's like they sponsored it, but the venue didn't carry it.
But you know what? That was okay, because that Jameson was absolutely delicious. You know, we went upstairs to the bar. My buddy bought me a Jameson.
Not sponsored by Jameson, but it can be, guys.
Speaking of which, random tangent. Have you looked into the history of Mr. Jameson himself?
I absolutely have.
Bro, dude was a savage.
I'm gonna say Google that.
Oh,
we shouldn't get to that on that podcast, but Google that. And his kin. So like some of his extended family gets pretty crazy. Anyways, we're talking about what happened directly after the fight. What did you need right after that fight?
Honestly, what I needed was to see all of the people that came there in person to see me, to have that shot of Jameson, with everybody that was there, and that beer tasted so good as well. Dude, that Coors Banquet was so cold. And all they had were tall boys. I just wanted a regular thing.
Nope.
And then when I finally got home at like 1 a.m.
It was a party that night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I stayed for the rest of the fights.
Yeah.
I only caught like the last 2 fights, which the what's it called? The not the main card, but the second main card.
The pro card?
Yeah. So
main events, co-main event.
Yeah, co-main event. Thank you. Man, I don't know shit about this game. Dude, the co-main event was a blast.
Wasn't it? That was such a fun one. And
Yeah.
there were good people. If you guys want to, I think it's still available on SteelFistFight.com. You can see the main event and the co-main event were both a blast.
Yes.
So
yes.
if you want to see Mike fight, you could still go and purchase that now. But like all the fights after Mike's fight were fantastic as well. Let's talk about your suplex, because I know that was something that you wanted to do. First of all, how stoked are you that you got that? And was it something that you saw and you actively took, or was it something that your body just did?
So, I am just elated by the suplex. I wish I would have done it better, but I did get my sister's seal of approval.
Hey.
And as you know, she competed on the national stage. For those of you that don't know, my little sister was a college wrestler, and she was freaking phenomenal. But if you see the suplex, it's a little bit ugly. But, I mean, I got the suplex. I was just elated by the fact that I got it. Now, as far as like...
Your sister was supposed to be there, wasn't she?
She was there.
I mean, she's super... Oh, was she
She
there?
was there, yes.
Did I not say hi to her, or did she leave early?
So she did leave a little bit early. So her and her husband and my mom... So her and her husband...
She's super knocked up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So her and her husband actually flew in from Texas just to watch me fight. And then also one of my best friends flew in from freaking Ohio to watch me fight as well. But anyways, so they left early. They took my kids, left early. My wife and I could, hang out with our people and, watch the rest of the fights. Because I was just about as excited to watch everybody else fight as me fighting.
Back to that suplex, though.
Yeah. So 2 things. It was both some intuition, and I kind of saw it. That kind of ugly slip and then to a body lock, because for some reason I find the body lock somewhat naturally. Yeah. And so when I found that body lock, like I just knew exactly what I was going to do, and watching the footage, like you can see where I take a couple steps back and away from the cage, because as you know, but everybody else might not know, it's illegal to spike your opponent on the head. And you told me
intentionally,
hey, what? Yeah. And then you told me, hey, this is how you execute the suplex so that you avoid spiking them on the head. Take a couple steps back. It'll force them to bend forward so that you get shoulders, then head. So when I did it, I took those couple steps away from the cage and backwards, and he did kind of bend over at the middle a little bit, and then I went, but instead of doing like a beautiful Greco-Roman or freestyle suplex, I ended up turning to the side a little bit just to ensure that I didn't dump him on his head and get DQ'd in my first fight, first round. And that's why it wasn't as pretty, is because I didn't go completely over the top. You know, I didn't go shoulders over hips, activating the toes. I just threw him on the ground and hit him with the planet. You know?
It was pretty considerate of you. To end this podcast, do your best to explain that post-fight feeling.
So, yeah, immediately, I wasn't done. So even though I went and put myself back in my cage, I was not done. It actually took me a second to come out of what I was just doing. And I looked at him, and my asshole brain was like, get the fuck up. Like, get off your back. Like, stand up. Like, you're okay. You're fine. We've got more time to keep fighting. And then it hit. Actually, what hit was pretty much the third voice. Dude, I could only hear three people. I could hear his corner for some reason. I think subconsciously I heard your corner, or I heard you out of my corner. And some dude was like, every time I was in the mount, elbows. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I can't throw elbows.
I forgot about that stuff. So sometimes people who are on the opposite side of the team, because this is such an intimate event, they will give fighters bad advice.
It was a spectator.
Yeah, it was a spectator.
My friends were like, yeah, that was the guy.
Which are absolutely illegal.
In amateur, yeah. And I really wanted to. I think things would have been a lot different.
Yeah.
Had I thrown elbows, but yeah. I mean, anyways. So yeah, afterwards, and I'm just standing there, you know, kind of in my cage, in my space. I heard my daughter. I heard her scream out, "Daddy!" And it right there. I spun around. I was like, "Oh, hey!" And then people wanted to come talk to me like right after that.
Yeah, well, it's good to have like some like experienced people behind you, because like I remember telling you, it was like, "Hey, we're going straight to the locker room. Do not talk to anybody. Say hi in passing, but like we need to get to the locker room fast, because everybody's gonna be just kind of grabbing at you and trying to make it stop. But we need to get these wraps off you. We need to see the doctor. We need to do all that stuff." But it's good to know that like that your daughter's voice kind of shot you back into reality, which is just like, hey, you know, and your daughter went into cage with you, didn't she?
Yeah. Which, by the way, thank you and Nicole so much for that, because that was just
hustling.
That was the coolest thing. Because leading up to it, and I didn't say it to anybody, but I thought about like, okay, how can I figure like, you know, getting my son and my daughter in here after I win, and just like holding them and stuff like that. And then, you know, then we had that night and the fight was on and the brain went to where it goes. But yeah, like I was not expecting that. And I completely forgot that like she was in there.
Yeah.
When I was getting interviewed, until she was like right there. I was like, oh shit, yeah.
That's my girl. You know, your daughter is a student of mine, and she's a very talented martial artist for her age. I think that, you know, if she continues going on, she's going to be a very complete martial artist. So when I have the opportunity to do something like that, I definitely want to do it, because I feel like it creates lasting moments for that. And, you know, it's going to motivate your daughter to continue on with martial arts and become hopefully kind of magistrate. I don't know what word I'm looking for, to turn into the type of fighter that she can be, because she has the training, she has the parents, and she has currently the will. So that's something that I really wanted to do for you. Well, Mike, this has been the post-fight Clink. Thank you for joining me on this podcast here. Let's clink it out to all the fighters that came before us and all the fighters that will become after us, whether that be people that we like or that we don't like. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for taking me through this experience. I had a lot of fun with you, and I hope you had as much fun as I did.
Oh, it was a blast. And thank you for guiding me through this journey.
Have fun, Mike. Thank you so much. And like and subscribe or whatever all those nerds do. Have a good day, guys.